So another option in controlling spotted lanternfly on your own property or an area, you know, a park or somewhere where you're noticing a lot of spotted lanternfly nymphs, is using sticky band or banding material. We're going to show you now the proper and correct way to install banding material, because there are some drawbacks using this control method, which involves a lot of bycatch, or catching things like beneficial insects or non-target pests. You know, we are only trying to capture spotted lanternfly. So for this video, it's going to be a little different story. We can monitor this band a lot, but generally I only suggest banding the tree of heaven, or the Ailanthus altissima, which is one of the preferred host trees of spotted lanternfly. We know that there aren't many pollinators that visit these trees, or many other beneficials that visit these trees, so you're already reducing your bycatch by only applying it to tree of heaven or Ailanthus. So this is not a tree of heaven, but we do monitor this tree quite often to make sure that it's not catching beneficial insects. You know, and we do claim that this sticky banding can capture things such as birds, maybe even squirrels, which is why we implement this cage material around the band, which you'll see us install here in a second, to try to prevent as many birds being caught, and squirrels and other small mammals, or you know, other birds being caught by this sticky banding material. Before we put this up, you know, this is 8-inch banding material. You can find this supply online, as well as at your home and garden store. Lowe's and Home Depot makes fly paper sticky traps, which can also be utilized for spotted lanternfly. This is predominantly used for catching nymph spotted lanternfly, but some of the stickier banding material can be effective at catching adult spotted lanternfly, but usually that is the banding material that's good at capturing non-targets such as birds, small mammals, and bees, things of that nature that we don't want to harm. So one way you could do in reducing your bycatch is by cutting this banding material in half. Usually when we're applying this banding material, it's usually only the bottom few inches that are capturing the lanternfly, because the lanternfly are falling out of the tree or jumping out of the tree, and then they're climbing upward to get to the top to either feed or propel themselves somewhere else, so they have to get to the top of the tree. So usually it's only the bottom few inches of this banding material that is being utilized or catching these lanternflies. So by cutting that in half, you're not limiting your ability to catch lanternfly. You're just helping with the ability to reduce your bycatch. So how we want to apply this is, it is very sticky. You want to kind of, usually have 2 people here, so we want to kind of get a measurement of what we want to do, or how much we want to apply. That ought to be a pretty good amount here. If it overlaps a little bit, that's okay. So again, it usually works and helps to have a second set of hands here, especially when it's windy or you end up with banding material in your face or on your clothing. We don't want that.
We already have a bug on.
We already have a bug on there.
2 next.
So what we want to do next, pass it through here. We're going to overlap it, so the stickiness will kind of overlap itself. But to properly hold it, we should use some clothespins here. Again, the clothespins won't harm the tree. It'll just help hold this banding material down. So now this is applied. You want to try to get it as close to the tree as possible, because those lanternfly, we don't want them crawling underneath it. This usually works very well on smooth bark trees. So now we have already pre-wrapped this tree with chicken wire just to make it a little bit easier. What you want to do is put, again, some of the clothespins in there will help hold this. Pop that up there like that. And another one over here. Put another one on this side here, which will help hold this cage material. So now you have a protective barrier around that sticky trap where the lanternfly can still crawl up underneath it and get stuck to it, but birds, if they were coming in to grab bugs that may be on it, or if a squirrel is crawling up this tree, it would not easily get attached to this banding material. So we do suggest, if you're going to apply banding material to any tree, that you try to cover it using some sort of method that we've showed you here, in order to reduce as much bycatch as possible. If you're uncomfortable with applying banding material, but still want some sort of method of capturing and controlling the nymphs and even adult spotted lanternfly, we're going to take you back over to the tree where we scraped egg masses from and show you how to install a circle trim.